Hello, and welcome to Inspirational Enthusiasm. I'm really excited about this week. We're going to talk about the 222 portal, and this is going to be really different. Or I guess it's 222 because it's 2/22/2022, and it's really interesting. The energy that's coming up, the things that I've been able to feel and channel. So we're going to talk about that. So this is going to be a little bit different than the previous videos that I've done, and really. We're going to do some reading at the end, but I want to talk a little bit about what this means and just some ways to work in this energy. So this 2/22/2022 is all about new beginnings. You might hear a lot of different interpretations, but what is coming up with for me is channeled information. A little bit of what I've researched, but a lot of channeled information. We are coming into something that is, you've heard people probably talk about like the Great Reset, the Great Awakening, and I feel like this is the portal that opens, that ushers that energy in. So it's really exciting because there's a lot of astrological implications. There's a lot of numerological implications. And I'm going to start with the numerological, say that fast, implication. So 2 is about balance. It's about partnership. And it's not, I was going to say structure, but it's really about balance. And this energy with all these 2s together is very fast. Very good for intention setting. It's very good for taking action. So, but it's also important that as you're going through this energy, it's going to be happening so quickly that we're going to need to protect and ground your energy. And we'll talk about what that looks like later on, because one of the things that kind of drives me crazy is I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of spiritual teachers, a lot of readers, from time to time. And, they have great advice, great readings, but then they're like, work on yourself. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Well, how do I work on myself at this point? So I want to give a few tips about that. So as we move into this energy, this is all about newness and excitement, and pushing into this awakening, pushing into the reset, changing the way we look at things, really taking a step back. And one of the biggest things that I'm personally finding is this is about doing shadow work. And some people may not know what shadow work is. And shadow work is really looking at the things in your life that are creating the biggest challenges for you, or things that you have experienced in the past. So I'll use myself as an example. So there's so many to choose from. It's going to take me a minute. So if I look at my childhood and some things like bullying, a lot of us can relate to bullying. I had a lot of bullying, and when I interact with people, sometimes I could have a tendency not to just be totally me at times. And this was before. Now I'm older and I don't care as much. And that comes with age as well. But, looking at, when someone says something negative to me now, and identifying that, like that's a trigger, that's something that hits me and it's like, oh, that makes me mad. And then digging into it. So that is part of shadow work, really digging into the things that are bothering you, that are distracting you, that are really, they're impeding your growth. So in 2018, I've talked about this a little bit in my previous videos. In 2018, I had my spiritual awakening. And what happened was I had just ended a marriage. I had just gotten divorced, and I had just lost my corporate job. And all of a sudden I was like, who am I? I had no idea who I was. And talk about shadow work. I didn't realize I was getting ready to step into a bunch of shadow work, because if I'd known, I would have opted out. I'm telling you, it was rough. So, and this is part of spiritual awakening. This is all part of spiritual awakening. So I lose my job, and I'm like, okay, first of all, after the divorce, I didn't know who I was. And it's so crazy that I didn't even know what my favorite color was. My ex-husband's favorite color was blue. And I thought that that's what my favorite color was. It's kind of like there's a Julia Roberts movie out there about this. I can't think of what it is at this point, but anyway, so come to find out, my favorite color is red. I'm an Aries, makes sense. Favorite color is red. So when I bought my new townhome, I started decorating in red. And that was, actually, that was kind of a way to deal with some of my shadow work, is to really step into my authentic self, identify where my identity had been, I don't want to say taken from me, but I had allowed it to not shine or not be present. So the marriage ends, identity issue, colors, right? The next thing is I lose my job, and corporate job, and I had been in corporate for 25 years, this position about 11. And I was all about my work, all about my career. My identity was my career. So when I stepped out of that, I had no idea who I was. So there really for me was the next level of shadow work. It's like, okay, what do I want to do? What is my purpose? What is my, what excites me? What makes me want to get up, and what makes me want to get up in the morning? So in stepping into that, stepping in or stepping out, it forced me to get to know myself. And getting to know myself was kind of scary, because, part of the story was I had been an active alcoholic from the age of 11 to 47. And I can tell you that I was living during that time, but I didn't really know who I was, because I was covered in all of all that liquid emotion, all that. It was hiding who I was. So I was really kind of talking to myself about, who am I? I'm being reborn. It's a rebirthing of who I am. So I get to, I lose the job, and then I start to, work on what I want to do and what I want to do moving forward. And that started a whole avalanche of things that were, like, what made me excited, what made me, what made me happy. And that sounds funny, but I really wasn't doing anything that made me truly happy. And I remembered from when I was little that I always knew I had some kind of big purpose in life. I knew that it wasn't, working in corporate. And it wasn't a lot of the things I had done. I've done so many things work related in my past. But I knew that I wasn't feeling it. And once I came out of that job, I actually tried to go back into corporate a couple times. And when I did that, I got severely ill. And as that happened, that made me stop. And, when I tried to go back and do things that weren't for my highest and greatest good, my higher self, God, the creator, whatever you believe in, said, no, you're not going to do that. You're going to stay right here, and you're going to sit, and you're going to lay in bed, because I couldn't do much other than that for about 2 years of my life, on and off. I was doing other things, so it wasn't like I was bedridden for 2 years, but it felt like every time I tried to get back out there, it wasn't working. So I had to stop And what I learned is I was really good at distracting myself. And I bet a lot of you will relate to this because I call it distraction technique. Like I kept myself so busy that at that point, I was seeing friends and going to concerts and doing this and doing that. So I didn't have to look at myself and be with myself and deal with myself. But that came to an end, and it actually, there's a lot more to the story. We'll get into that in other videos. But my whole point of this is it forced me to look at things that pushed me into this shadow work period. So what happened is I started to see patterns. So shadow work to me is a lot about seeing the patterns, the negative patterns in your life. So I used to kid people about, when it came to picking partners in my life, I had a bad picker. And I did have a bad picker because what was happening is I had all of this damage from my childhood that I hadn't resolved. And when I was manifesting and looking for a new partner, I was manifesting at a low vibration. So I was attracting that low vibration. And I'm not saying that the people that I attract were not good people, but we were low vibration. We were attracting each other at that low vibration. So I wasn't attracting someone that was for my highest and greatest good. After finding out what those patterns are, really seeing them and kind of digging into what was going on, I found like one of my biggest issues was I didn't value myself. I didn't have confidence in myself. I didn't believe in myself. And I was really struggling with that. And as I worked on valuing myself years later, and this is only a few months ago, I finally attracted a partner that was vibrating at a high level like myself, who had worked on themselves like myself. And I am now in a very positive, healthy, loving relationship. So that shadow work can be a real bear. I mean, it is, shadow work can last anywhere from a couple of months to a couple of years. And I think I set some kind of world record because I feel like I was in it for what felt like almost 3 years, maybe 4. But I dipped in and out. I mean, there was a lot of kind of, I was in it and then I felt like I was coming out. But I really struggled with true joy, finding true joy, feeling true joy. On the outside, no one would have known what was going on with me because I didn't allow people to see that. A few people I did, but most people did not see that. The other thing that happened through that spiritual awakening is I started to find my tribe. I started to find the people that I really resonated with. I started taking classes on spirituality. I started really working with my tarot cards, really, pulling cards and journaling and taking classes and meeting people. And in those classes is where I met my best friend. And I started to get out there and learn about different things that interested me. And at that point, I was also kind of ravenous for information. So why I'm telling you this is because what is going on with this 222 energy is that this is about new beginnings. And a lot of people out there that will end up watching this, and they might not watch it now, they may see it later. This is about stepping in to the new you and being comfortable with not being comfortable. So this is about, and this whole 2 energy, this is about finding your balance. It's about opposites. It's about, opposites such as left versus right, up versus down. And it may mean, but I really feel like it does mean that you need to balance some aspect of your life. So for example, if you are a workaholic and that's all you're doing, if you're all wrapped up in just having relationships, and it could be all if you're all into spirituality, there is something called spiritual bypassing, where you try to just throw yourself totally into spirituality and ignore the reality of life. That also is unhealthy. And there, I know some people that do that, and it's not sustainable, and it's really not the world that we live in. Not saying it's right or wrong, but it is something that it is not healthy, because it's always healthy to find balance. That's another thing that I have struggled with in my life, is finding balance. And in this energy, we're receiving a spiritual push to evolve and to encourage others. I also feel like, intuitively, and I'm reading from some notes, so I apologize if I'm looking down, but I want to make sure I capture the things that were coming to me through downloads and other channels. But this is also about love and acceptance and allowing and caring. And we're pulling into 2 years. So 2, right? I might have said it right or wrong. This is the portal, but it's just the opening. It's not like there's something big and miraculous going to happen on 222, but not to say that it won't, but we're in for a lot of changes for the next 2 years. So I'm also an astrologer, and I'm actually taking a course on astrology. I'm self-taught, but I'm actually really getting into it now. We are going through some very interesting astrological changes that are going to really make the world that we live in look different so different from what it is now to what it becomes, even as early as 2024. And that might seem like a long time, but time is kind of an illusion anyway. But so what happens is this portal opens, and things start to change. Hopefully, it's going to be really interesting to see this. This is so cool, and it can be so scary at the same time. There are days when I'm so excited, like today I'm in a really good mood and I'm digging on this full moon in Leo energy. But there's other times when it's like I can feel the nervousness of the collective out there. People are nervous. People are scared. There's a lot of uncertainty going on. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed. And that's what this portal is opening. And not to get too much into astrology, but I believe. So this portal opens, and then the first time that we feel, there'll be other things that happen. There's a lot of planetary energy that happens on a daily basis, certain aspects that happen as well. But when we hit eclipse season, which is in April, I think April, what happens April and what happens in May, that is when you're going to see a huge activation of this energy. And this portal is also connected to the north and the south nodes. Again, don't want to overwhelm you with astrological terms, but those are just mathematical points in the moon. And they've just shifted January 19th, added Gemini in Sagittarius being the south node, into the north node of Taurus and the south node of Scorpio. And so the north node in Taurus is not all about, but mostly about values. So for the next 18 months, while this nodal energy is going on, we're going to be really tapping into what do we value? What is important to us? Is it greed? Is it materialism? Is it being with family? Is it being with friends? Is it finding your tribe? And I feel like that since we're also pulling into a heavy Aquarian energy, this is about coming together. This is about a whole new way of living. This is a very feminine energy, which is about allowing and receiving, receptivity, and pulling out of that old energy of, got to get it done, working hard for a living instead of smart, working smarter, not harder, is the new energy. So as we hit, like I said, April activates the nodes. And so that first eclipse in April, there's going to be a large awakening. There's going to be, and there's people awakening every day, but there's going to be a large awakening of people that are like, okay, wait a minute, what have I been doing all this time? What is life all about? And you're gonna see there'll be an awakening in April. There'll be activity in July and then December. Those will be mass awakenings. There will be a lot of people that start to really question, their purpose. So I also am getting a lot of energy around. This is about coming together. So I mentioned a second ago about Aquarian energy. Aquarian energy is humanitarian, about coming together, being together, but it's also a very rebellious energy. And you're seeing that. You're seeing a lot of people that are not happy with the status quo, not happy with the greed and the craziness that's going on with some of these institutions and governments and pharmaceuticals and different types of organizations that feel like they're really controlling our lives. And these structures are going to fall apart and they're going to change. And also what's going to happen is I really believe that we're going to shift our consciousness from a me centered approach to we. That is Aquarian energy, to the we. And there's going to be a lot more heart chakra awakenings with people. And when I say that, I mean a lot of people will start to see others differently, less judgmentally, not looking at people as yucky or their opinion, oh my gosh, who are you? I can't believe you believe in that. And instead looking at people like, hey, that's a different opinion. I don't believe in it, but hey, it's cool that you have your opinion. And also looking at people that, that may, just a quick story here. I had a heart chakra awakening last year, and I might have mentioned this on a previous video, but all of a sudden, I felt this very warm. It was a day in the summer, and I felt this very warm. I saw a bright light and this warm presence in my heart chakra area. And I'm not saying this is how it happens for everybody, but this is how it happened for me. And at the time when that happened, there happened to be a man walking by. He was very disheveled. He was dirty. He had dreadlocks. He was tattooed, he was pierced. The way I would have looked at him in the past would have been like, oh, like almost scared because of his appearance. And all I could see at that moment was, oh my gosh, he's wounded. What are the wounds and how can I help? How can I help? And that is what I believe is getting ready to happen. People are going to stop being so me-centric and so judgmental and looking at people. It's important to look at people with a broader lens than, this is what I believe in. These are my experiences. So you need to believe the same as I believe. And if we can just start having some better conversations with each other and be more open-minded, then I think together we can help change some of these old, outdated structures and belief systems to move us forward. So, people tend to follow false info when they run out of hope. And I think that's the energy that we've been in the last couple of years. So, going back to the heart chakra awakening, this is a time to heal our childhood wounds, heal that trauma, really go back and figure out, a lot of us have things that created who we are today in in our root chakra, in our base. So from our childhood, those experiences created how we react and who we react to, or who we surround ourselves with because of that. And this is an awakening into changing that, being more open to being, to listening to people that don't look like us, that are of different cultures, are of different, different races, different belief systems. And now is time to stop projecting our wounds onto other people. So stop judging others for their opinions. And I talked about that. So just a few other things, and then we're going to get into the meat of the reading. But just a couple other pieces of advice is in working through this energy, which is, again, it's going to be really fast. It's gonna feel a little like whiplash, I believe, for some people. And there's going to be a lot of people that will reject, will not want to awaken. So that is going to make for a very challenging time for those people, because I feel like this energy is forcing us to see things differently. So for those of you that are awakening, that may already be awakened, such as myself, be an observer, especially as it relates to spirituality and your awakening. Awakening is opening to your soul's purpose and getting off of the hamster wheel of life. And I was thinking about this when I was writing this down this week, and all I could visualize is that my entire life has been like, okay, I'm going, and I start to get up a little bit, and I fall down. I'm like, all right, what's going on? What's happening? Okay, I'm getting up a little bit. And so now I feel like this is a time that we are stepping off of that hamster wheel, and we are deprogramming ourselves. Start to look at the things that you believe in and really think about them. Time to really look at, where did you get that belief system? What was it based on and in? And then pick it apart. Again, that's shadow work there too, is really digging deep to find out why you think the way you do. If you're of a culture that believes in, believes people should act a certain way all the time, is that really what you believe now? Is it time to change your belief system? So just digging into the things that you've always done. So, couple different ways to work through this energy. So since it's fast, grounding is going to be so critically important. And what do I mean by grounding? No, you're not grounded. Go to your room. You can go to your room if you like it, but some simple techniques for grounding are connecting with Mama Earth, with Mother Nature. Take off your shoes, walk outside, take off your socks. Probably should say that for some people. Be like, I don't feel anything. But you can still have your shoes on, but it's best if you can have bare feet and just walk in the grass and just really connect with the energy. And I will tell you that, I tell you these techniques and I've done them, but it took me a while to really believe in this, to really think, that doesn't sound right. I heard a lot of people talking about it, but it does work. I like to call myself a skeptical optimist, because I'm into spirituality, I'm into all this, but I do question everything about it, because I'm still in that old programming somewhat where I need to see it to believe it. But we're being asked to have faith. So go outside, walk around, hug a tree, connect with nature, be with animals, love on your animals at home if you have cats or dogs or ferrets or whatever you have. Really connect, and that will help you. That's one way to ground. Another way to ground is meditation. There are some meditations out there. You can go onto YouTube, which is what I do a lot of times. I know there's other services out there that you can go to, but I like to just type in like grounding or grounding meditation. And they will walk you through, like sitting on the ground, putting your feet on the ground, flat on the ground, and then imagining the, Mother Nature, Mama Earth, the roots coming up through your feet, and they'll walk you through it, going all the way up through your body, and then up through your crown, and then up into source, mingling with that source, beautiful source energy coming down through your crown chakra and all the way back down into Mother Earth. And that visualization and just taking your time, I went through it very quickly, but that is also a way to ground. Yoga is another way to ground. And if those three ways that I just mentioned are, don't do it for you, you can also Google it. Just take a look and see what else might be out there that will help you ground. And then protecting your energy. So this is really important too. During this very fast energy, this is something that I have realized that I had to do more of, is as people are going through this energy, whether they reject it or accept it, it's going to be shaking people up. A lot of people doing shadow work, a lot of people not doing shadow work that need to be doing. There's going to be a lot of emotions. There's going to be a lot of distraction, a lot of angst out there. And for people that are empathic, empaths, that pick up on other people's energy, you will feel this. You can feel that energy, and it can really challenge you. What I like to do first off is I like to go through a little checklist in my head. Is like, okay, is anything wrong with me? Do I need to, is this my issue? And I just kind of think about, is it my finances? Is it my relationship? Is it this? Is it that? And if I can't find anything that should be making me feel that way, then I'm real clear that is somebody else's energy I'm picking up. And for me personally, unfortunately, I tend to pick up the collective energy of people. So what I have been doing a lot more lately is protecting my energy. You can use crystals as protection, and I'm not going to get into all the different crystals. Maybe we'll do that in another video. But protective crystals are typically black crystals, tourmaline, obsidian, but there's quite a few out there. So look that up. You can also, one of the easiest ways to protect your energy is, for me anyway, and again, this is my opinion, this is my advice, is calling in Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael is our protector. And he is the strongest angel out there. And what I do, very simple, and I got this from my best friend, is I just call in Archangel Michael to surround me with his beautiful blue light of protection and keep all negative energy and entity out of my space. And so when I do that in the morning when I wake up. When I first wake up, I do what I call like a gratitude prayer, and it's not really a prayer, but it's just I talk about what I'm grateful for the day before, and what I'm grateful to experience in the current day. And then I invoke Archangel Michael, and it's not anything formal. I mean, this is like, you can do whatever you want. It's not like I invoke. It's, hey, Michael, hey, Archangel Michael, whatever you're comfortable with. And I just call him in, ask for protection, and then I go about my day. Now, before I go to bed, I do the same thing, only because I tend to lucid dream and astrally travel. So that can be something that can help you if you do that. So without further ado, I'm actually going to do things a little different for this reading. This is going to be a general reading for the collective, and I am going to pull into my oracle cards. We're gonna mix things up a little bit this time. I have this beautiful new deck that I got a few months ago, and I'm gonna reach down and get this. This is the Priestess of the Light oracle deck. This is a very shamanistic looking deck. Has a lot of beautiful imagery that is very earthy, very grounded. And I think I'm drawn to it because of the energy. Well, I probably don't think. I'm really connected to it now because of the energy that we're going into. So I'm going to pull a few cards from this deck, and then we'll use the traditional Rider-Waite deck to get the rest of the story. All right. These cards are a little flipperier than my other deck, so let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 energy. What do we have? So we have the Circle of Eternal Joy. That's a really beautiful card there. This is about timelessness, the dance of life. And this is a 41 card. And then friendship, support, fun, unity, play. This is a 14 card. And I did hear something as I was talking about unity and unification. So this is a unifying time. And I think I'm going to pull the bottom card for this last one. Haha, death and rebirth. This is beautiful. This is exactly what I was talking about. This is a time that we're going to be letting go of the past and we're going to be stepping into the future. This is from darkness to light, and this is a 19 card. So I tell you the numbers because a lot of you that are into numerology like to know that. So with the Circle of Eternal Joy being a 41 card, this is, it reduces down to a 5, which is all about change. And again, what I was just talking about, we're going to be going through change. The Friendship card is a 14 card. And guess what? That's another 5. So I think we're going to be going through a lot of change. And then Death and Rebirth is a 19. And Reduced, that's a 10. And that's about beginnings. And I can't make this up, right? So this is all about change, accepting change, moving out of the old and moving into the new. And I don't know about you, but I am really done with the way things were in the past, the way that, things are about me and greed and all of that. So it's really time to come together and make changes. So now we're going to see what we get from the deck, my trusty Rider-Waite deck, and see what the rest of the story is in here. And I'll lay them out and then we'll talk about it. All right, so what do we got? So we have the Queen of Cups. We have the Chariot. We have the 7 of Swords. The Sun card. Some Leo energy right there. The Ace of Cups, that's nice. The 3 of Swords. We got some sword action going on. The Wheel of Fortune. The 8 of Pentacles. And Justice. Okay, so underneath we have the Page of Cups. So for anybody that is a tarot reader, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 cards here that are major arcana. Major arcana are the first 22 cards of the deck. And whenever you have a spread with a lot of major arcana, then it's usually about big change, something big coming. Like I said, something big is coming. And then an ace to that is also, that to me that's, it's not considered a major arcana, but it is a very important card. So with the Queen of Cups, in this collective reading, I feel like this is all about, this is time to nurture yourself. This is time to take care of yourself. This is time to really step into self-care and love and just really finding out who you are again. Before, as I mentioned that, I didn't know who I was. And a big part of shadow work is really sloughing off the old and so you can jump into that new suit, right? That brand new suit. And this Queen of Cups, this is that nurturing, loving energy that is like, okay, I got you. And then next we have the Chariot, which is all about movement, moving forward. It's time, and it's a 7 card. And 7, lots of meanings about 7, but the one that's coming out the strongest is about faith. having faith that everything is going to be okay, taking a step back. I don't know where this is coming from, but taking a step back and just looking, and then don't wait too long, and then move forward. Just hold your breath if you need to for a second, and then breathe, and then move forward. And that must have been, that intuitive hit was about breathing. That's another thing that you can do to help yourself, is to practice breath work. We don't breathe the way that we should, healthy. We need to take deeper breaths more often during the day. When you get upset, you get excited, or you get, and when I say excited, I mean it in the negative way, actually. So if you get anxiously excited, if you just stop and just breathe, just take a deep breath and hold it for 4, and then exhale through your mouth for 4, and then hold that, and then do it again, and just do that for a little bit. That will help reset you. So take a moment, and then time to move forward. And with the 7 of Swords here, this is not reading like it usually does for a lot of you tarot readers out there, but I am seeing this as don't look back. It is time to leave the past in the past and move forward. And you're moving towards your joy. This is all about enjoying the freedom of being your authentic self, being happy, being loving, showing compassion, helping your neighbor, helping a friend, helping someone that's less fortunate. And it's really interesting, next to the sun is the Ace of Cups. When you are shining, when you are being your authentic self, when you are having fun and you are in your joy, then the love is overflowing, and it is just, it's abundant. It makes you feel so good. And just really leaving any of the pain from the past. This 3 of Swords here, to me, is just a reminder of letting go of the past. We cannot change the past. This is about forgiveness. This is coming through very strongly as forgiving yourself for things that happened in the past, and forgiving others. And I know when I say that, I can already feel the energy shift, like, I ain't forgiven them. You've got to be kidding me. You got to be crazy. But forgiveness is not, when you forgive somebody for something, that is taking the power of that away from them. It's taking the power out of the situation. It's not allowing that to hurt you anymore. It's not about forgetting, and it's not about saying it's okay. It's about, I forgive. I understand you're human. I understand that you're wounded, that people hurt people. And we're not born to hurt people, but it's the experiences and things that happen along the way that create our situations and create these times when we do hurt people. So realize it is time to leave the past in the past. Any heartbreak, any sadness, any darkness that happened, leave it there and work on moving forward. And if there are things that you can't forgive for, right there, that's your shadow work. That is something that you need to work on. That is something that I would suggest journaling, working through. You can write a letter if it's a person that hurt you, if it's a situation that you found yourself in, or if it's something that you did. Journaling is a great way to get it out of here and onto paper. And some people will journal and keep it for later to pay attention, later to reflect on. And then others will journal and burn it. Like if there is something that you've done wrong and it's just killing you. I can remember there was a situation, and I won't tell you what it is because it's not comfortable sharing, but just a challenging situation from my past that I was like, oh, I cannot forgive myself for that. I finally got to the point where I could write it down on a piece of paper, and I released it to the universe, and I said, please forgive me as I forgive myself. And I felt that, and I have not looked back since then. And again, I know some of this can sound hokey to people. It sounded hokey to me, but it actually worked. So have faith in that. And now we're moving forward. So as we go down the rest of the reading, this is about, it's time, we're ending a chapter. The Wheel of Fortune is about moving forward. It's a 10 card. So it's about, again, 1 and 0. 1 is about new beginnings. 0 is God consciousness. So feeling comfortable to move forward, move into a new energy. And I love this because the 8 of Pentacles is about doing the work. You got to do the work. You've got to do the work to get past the things that trigger you, that are keeping you stuck in that old energy. And when you do, you find balance. In the Justice card, this is an 11. You think about an 11. This is the pillars, right? This is all about finding that balance. And in that balance, finding the justice, finding freedom. Justice to me right now is presenting as freedom, because it's letting all that go and finding a way to balance your emotions, balance what you're doing, even your physicality, balance what you're doing in your day-to-day routine. So very important to do that. And then underneath this hidden energy, this subconscious, this shadow energy is like the Page of Cups is funny. The feeling that I'm having with this is like, okay, some of you are feeling like, okay, I don't know about this. I don't know if I can do this. So like it's the love will come out small. It's something about be open, okay. Go back to when you were young, before you had all of these programming, all of these issues, all of the situations that you've been through. Go back to more of that childlike time, and be open to love. Be open to looking at things differently. Be open to starting over, starting with a really clean slate. And the other thing that I see in here is there are some signs. Some of the major arcana signs, or some of the major arcana do translate to astrological signs. So we've got Cancer, we've got Leo, which is really cool because we're in Leo energy. And then we have Justice, which is Libra. So I'm going to actually pull a couple cards for each of those, just to see if you are one of those. There may be a special message in there for you. So let's see what we have. So if you're a Cancer, no, that's not Cancer. Well, I'm going to say it's Cancer because it's coming out that way. So this is all about if this resonates with you, this is all about it's time to heal. It's time to come out from the cold. You're no longer struggling. You no longer have to struggle. You can let go. You can allow. You can have faith. It's time to be independent, and it's time to heal. It's time to really focus on taking that break, taking that time for yourself, getting off of that proverbial hamster wheel that we talked about earlier, and coming into your own. This is really beautiful. This is, I didn't put any reversals in here, but I have the 5 of Pentacles reversed. I have the 9 of Pentacles upright, and then the 4 of Swords, which is it's really interesting. So Pentacles, that's a slower energy. So this is about slowing down. And the Four of Swords is about healing, taking the time to rest. So it's slowing down, get to know yourself, stop beating yourself up, take a break, breathe. Now, if you're a Leo, and I think this is really special because we're in this Leo full moon. So this is obviously happening for a reason. So if you're a Leo, Five of Swords, Queen of Wands, and the Seven of Cups. So this is leaving the past in the past. The people that have wronged you, yep, they've wronged you, and it's okay to have been mad. It's okay to I just heard someone swear under their breath. It's okay to be mad, and it was okay in the past to be mad, but it's time to stop looking back at that. So there is a repetitive theme in this whole reading about stop looking back, start moving forward. If you're a Leo, there could have been some confusion, some struggle with, you want to look back, you don't know how to move forward. But the Queen of Wands is about standing in your power. It's about, get creative. And Leo is all about creativity. Leos can be extremely creative. That's one of the high side qualities of a Leo. So take your power back, get creative. If you're struggling, you're confused, you still want to look back, do something that distracts you in a healthy way. Take up a new hobby, make jewelry, do woodwork. Find something that will help you express yourself in a positive and healthy way. All right, and if you're a Libra, lovely Libras, what messages do we have for lovely Libras? Not that the other signs aren't lovely, but it just flows for me for some reason. The Three of Pentacles, the Nine of Wands, and the Fool. So this is really about moving forward and not worrying about if there's a net. It's moving forward with reckless abandon. And I don't mean be reckless, but it's like take risks, feel the fear and do it anyway. Forget what has happened in the past. This Nine of Wands is, you've been through the ringer, and it's time to find your tribe, find the people that are like-minded, and really adventure. I just heard Sagittarius for some reason, because Sagittarius are very adventurous, but you don't have to go find the Sagittarius, but that just came out. And just go out there and don't worry about what people think about you. Don't worry about judgment. Feel into it. Use your intuition to just really move forward. And then also the Wheel of Fortune is a representative of Pisces and Sag. So I'm going to I'll do some clarifications on this one, see if there's any messages, because I feel that there is. It was giving me a little nudge here. So the Pisces are Sag. Let's see. And what advice for Pisces or Sag? So have fun. So 10 of Pentacles, two of Wands, and the Knight of Wands. This is, you will find abundance by having fun, being playful. And Sagittarius don't have a problem with that. And some Pisces are good with that too. But it's time to reflect. It's time to go inside and look at what excites you. Again, this message is coming out throughout, but really, what is the vision that you see? What is it that you seek? What do you want to create? What do you want to do? And really embracing that. Um, there's so much intuitively coming down about once you get out of your head and you go out and you just have some fun and stop the mundane, stop the, stop the hamster wheel and get off, then abundance is yours. Slow down, enjoy the ride. Make sure that you are seeing the bigger picture, that life is not just about work, going home, taking care of the kids, and then going to bed, or work, going home, and going to bed. It is about enjoying, it's about experiences, it's about living. And as we pull into this new energy, this is really important to remember. I'm also feeling that before we end the video, there's more advice that wants to come out. So I'm just going to pull a few cards on some advice. So how to manage this energy. And there's been a lot of good advice throughout this reading, but there's some more that wants to come through. So what do we got? All right, so nothing big here, right? 2 major arcana and a minor, but the Temperance card, the Hermit card, and the Two of Cups. So a lot of readers see the Temperance card as balance. I see the Temperance card and I feel intuitively moderation. So advice is to take, again, this is coming through very consistently throughout this reading, is be careful what you're doing. Be moderate. Don't overdo it. Take your time. Be methodical. Write a list. Be very. If you're not a planned person, that's okay. Put the list in your head, but it's time to really sit down and figure out what it is that you want to do. And there's also advice here about finding a guide, finding a mentor, finding someone you can talk to. Because what happens when you go through, this kind of energy, and whether it leads you into your awakening or not, is there's a lot of strange things that start to come up, and things that you're like, I can't talk to anybody about this. So this is about finding a guide, finding a teacher, finding a person, a friend, someone that can help guide you through this energy. And this is really beautiful advice. It's about, you need someone to go through this. Ask for help. One of my biggest challenges in life has been that I felt like I had to be fiercely independent, and it really crippled me when it came to asking for help. So, make sure that you realize that asking for help is not a weakness. We just had a card fall out. Hold on just a second. When you ask for help, you're, 2 heads are better than one. Other people's opinions, they may not be exactly what you do, but it's good to, it's good to hear them, and it gives you other options and other ways of looking at things that you might not have seen had you been just relying on yourself. And just as the last card, there's a card that just flew out, and this is really interesting because it's the 6 of Pentacles, and this is all about, this is being of service. This is helping others. You may need to help yourself first, but what you give out, you get back. So really think about that. If we're giving out ugliness and nastiness and lack of compassion and lack of understanding, what do you think you're going to get back? You're going to get back the same. So be very intentional when you are, being in your everyday life. It's be caring, be compassionate, be understanding. And if you don't agree with somebody, you don't always have to say it. one of the great lessons that I learned in my life is that everything that was in here did not have to come out of my mouth. It did not, everything in my head didn't have to come out of my mouth. And that has served me very well because it has kept me from embarrassing myself. It's kept me from being wrong, and it's kept me from hurting a lot of people's feelings. And it's given me a whole new perspective on life. So, welcome to the new energy. I'm really excited about it. We'll be talking more about it, and we'll be bringing in other people, other practitioners, other readers, other people in that have different modalities, and talking about how it's affecting them and what they're seeing with their clients. And it's going to be really exciting because, I mean, hold on to your Mippy because we're going to see a lot of things change. And change can be scary, but we have to embrace it. And we have to know that, I think that in the past, a lot of people, especially my generation, we were challenged with change because that's how we were programmed. But now I think people are more apt to embrace change because we don't want to stay in what we're staying in. So I hope that this message it resonates with you. Take what resonates. If some of it doesn't, then leave it. But I am wishing you well. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and always wishing you peace, love, and light.